A couple was about to celebrate 50 years together. Their 3 kids, all very successful and wealthy, agreed to a Sunday dinner in honor of their parents. As usual, they were all late and had varied excuses. "Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad," gushed son number 1. "Sorry, I'm running late. I just didn't have the time to get you a present." "No worries," said Dad. "The important thing is that we're all together." Son number 2 arrived and announced, "Just flew in from LA and didn't have time to get you anything. I'm sorry." "It's nothing," said the father. "Just glad you could be here today." The daughter arrived. "Happy anniversary. I'm sorry, but I've been out of town and didn't bring a present." Again, the father said, "I really don't care. At least the 5 of us are together today." Later, during dinner, the father put down his fork, looked up and said, "Listen, you 3, there's something your mother and I need to tell you. We came to this country penniless and desperate. Despite this, we were able to raise you and send you to college, but we never got around to getting married." The 3 kids gasped and said in unison, "You mean we're bastards?" "Yep," said the dad. "And cheap ones too." 1. A duck walks into a pub and orders a beer and a ham sandwich. The barman looks at him and says, "But you're a duck." "I see your eyes are working," replies the duck. "And you talk," exclaims the barman. "I see your ears are working," says the duck. "Now can I have my beer and my sandwich, please?" "Certainly," says the barman. "Sorry about that. It's just we don't get many ducks in this pub. What are you doing round this way?" "I'm working on the building site across the road," explains the duck. Then the duck drinks his beer, eats his sandwich, and leaves. This continues for 2 weeks. Then one day the circus comes to town. The ringleader of the circus comes into the pub and the barman says to him, "You're with the circus, aren't you? I know this duck that would be just brilliant in your circus," he talks. "Drinks beer and everything." "Sounds marvelous," says the ringleader. "Get him to give me a call." So the next day when the duck comes into the pub, the barman says, "Hey, Mr. Duck, I reckon I can line you up with a top job paying really good money." "Yeah," says the duck. "Sounds great. Where is it?" "At the circus," says the barman. "The circus?" the duck inquires. "That's right," replies the barman. "The circus?" the duck asks again. "Yes," says the barman. "That place with the big tent?" the duck inquires. "Yeah," the barman replies. "With all the animals?" the duck questioned. "Of course," the barman replies. "With the big canvas roof with the hole in the middle?" asks the duck. "That's right," says the barman. The duck looks confused. What the heck would they want with a plasterer? 2. My son starts school today. It is all going to be strange and new to him for a while, and I wish you would treat him gently. It is an adventure that might take him across continents. All adventures probably include wars, tragedy, and sorrow. To live this life will require faith, love, and courage. So, dear teacher, will you please take him by his hand and teach him things he will have to know, teaching him, but gently, if you can. Teach him that for every enemy, there is a friend. He will have to know that all men are not just, and that all men are not true. But teach him also that for every scoundrel there is a hero, that for every crooked politician there is a dedicated leader. Teach him, if you can, that 10 cents earned is of far more value than a dollar found. In school, teachers, it is far more honorable to fail than to cheat. Teach him to learn how to gracefully lose and enjoy winning when he does win. Teach him to be gentle with people, tough with tough people. Steer him away from envy if you can, and teach him the secret of quiet laughter. Teach him, if you can, how to laugh when he is sad. Teach him there is no shame in tears. Teach him there can be glory in failure and despair in success. Teach him to scoff at cynics. Teach him, if you can, the wonders of books, but also give time to ponder the extreme mystery of birds in the sky, bees in the sun, and flowers on a green hill. Teach him to have faith in his own ideas, even if everyone tells him they are wrong. try to give my son the strength not to follow the crowd when everyone else is doing it. Teach him to listen to everyone, but teach him also to filter all that he hears on a screen of truth and take only the good that comes through. Teach him to sell his talents and brains to the highest bidder, but never to put a price tag on his heart and soul. Let him have the courage to be impatient. Let him have the patience to be brave. Teach him to have sublime faith in himself, because then he will always have sublime faith in mankind, in God. This is the order, teacher, but see what best you can do. He is such a nice little boy, and he is my son. 3. An angry woman with 2 kids enters Walmart, shouting angrily at the children and at anyone who crosses her path. The greeter at the reception says cheerfully to her, "Good morning and welcome to Walmart." "Shut the F up," grunts the woman. Unperturbed, he says, "Cute kids. Are they twins?" The horrible woman stopped shouting just enough to say, "Hell, they're not twins. The older is 9 and the other is 7. Are you blind or just stupid?" "Neither. It's just hard to believe someone slept with you twice." 4. A husband and wife are waiting at the bus stop with their 9 children. A blind man joins them after a few minutes. When the bus arrives, they find it overloaded, and only the wife and the 9 kids are able to fit onto the bus. So the husband and the blind man decide to walk. After a while, the husband gets irritated by the ticking of the stick of the blind man as he taps it on the sidewalk and says to him, "Why don't you put a piece of rubber at the end of your stick? That ticking sound is driving me crazy." The blind man replies, "If you would have put a rubber at the end of your stick, we'd be riding the bus." 5. One day a Scotsman who has been stranded on a desert island for over 10 long years sees an unusual speck on the horizon. "It's certainly not a ship," he thinks to himself. As the speck gets closer and closer, he begins to rule out the possibilities of a small boat, then even a raft. Suddenly, emerging from the surf, is a drop-dead, gorgeous blonde woman wearing a wet suit and scuba gear. She approaches the stunned man and says to him, "Tell me how long it's been since you've had a cigarette?" 10 years, replies the Scotsman. With that, she reaches over and unzips a waterproof pocket on her left sleeve and pulls out a pack of fresh cigarettes. He takes one, lights it, takes a long drag and says, "Och, in the name of the wee man, is that good?" "And how long has it been since you've had a sip of good scotch?" she asks him. Trembling, the castaway replies, 10 years. She reaches over, unzips her right sleeve, pulls out a flask and hands it to him. He opens the flask, takes a long swig and says, "'Tis absolutely fantastic." At this point, she starts slowly unzipping the long zipper that runs down the front of her wetsuit, looks at the man and asks, "And how long has it been since you've played around?" With tears in his eyes, the man falls to his knees and sobs, "Oh, sweet. Don't tell me you've got golf clubs in there too." 6. A priest, a doctor, and an engineer were waiting one morning for a particularly slow group of golfers. They start getting really upset as time goes on, as they have reserved the time weeks in advance. Engineer, "What's with these guys? We must have been waiting for 25 minutes. Doctor, "I don't know, but I've never seen such ineptitude." Priest, "Hey, here comes the greenskeeper. Let's have a word with him." Priest, "Hi, George. Say, George, what's with that group ahead of us? They're rather slow, aren't they?" George, "Oh, yes. That's a group of blind firefighters. They lost their sight while saving our clubhouse last year, so we let them play here anytime free of charge." Silence. Priest, "That's so sad. I think I will say a special prayer for them tonight." Doctor, "Good idea. And I'm going to contact my ophthalmologist buddy and see if there's anything he can do for them." Engineer, "Why can't these guys play at night?" 7. An Irish priest is driving home from a night at his favorite bar. A police officer notices a car swerving all over the road and proceeds to pursue. The Irishman pulls over and the cop makes his way to the driver. Checking the vehicle and noticing bottles all over the floorboard, the policeman asks, "Have you been drinking?" "I don't know what you're on about, officer. I had just only left church after giving praise to the Lord for his many blessings and miracles," said the priest. The policeman frowned. "Well then, what's in the bottles?" "Water," the priest replied. The policeman reached in and, grabbing a bottle, opened the top and was quickly overcome with the smell. "This is wine." The priest then promptly shouted, "Praise the Lord, he's done it again." 8. A young couple had recently gotten married, and after 3 months, the wife went to the doctor for a checkup. The doctor told her she was pregnant. She was thrilled, but the doctor also informed her that, due to a rare complication, she shouldn't have sex with her husband until after the birth. The wife went home and told her husband what the doctor had said. The husband agreed to try and hold out. After a month, the husband couldn't resist anymore and asked his wife to be intimate. Of course, she refused. Seeing her husband so depressed and sad, the wife called him over and said, "My dear husband, I know you're suffering. Here, take $100 and go to a sex worker to relieve yourself." The husband took the money and thought to himself, "What a wonderful and considerate wife," opened the door, and went down the stairs, feeling cheerful. When he reached the first floor, the neighbor's wife saw him and asked, "Why are you so happy?" He happily told her the whole story. She then said, "Why go looking outside for a sex worker? Give me the $100 and I'll take care of you." The man agreed, gave her the money, went into her apartment, enjoyed himself for 20 minutes, and then returned home. His wife saw him and was astonished, asking, "What happened, dear? You came back so quickly. Did you change your mind?" The husband replied, "I went downstairs and the neighbor saw me. She offered to take the money instead, so that's what I did." His wife got very angry and said, "What a jerk. When she was pregnant, I did her husband for free.